Hi there, I'm doing another Happy Purple one. She seems to be stuck on 37, but this one here is talking about food to hoard and to store. Okay, number one is distilled water, seltzer water. She's talking about you can put it up, have it for the extra fizz, whatever stuff. To me, nah. I mean, I wouldn't worry. You know, if I want soap making down the road or whatever, I just turn around and heat me some water up if you need to. Filter your water out, whatever you got to do if you got to go that route. I'm not worried about the extra fizz or the seltzer. Uh, and then number two, of course, is cans, it's liquids. You got to also watch the dates and rotate. And number one important thing is don't get anything you don't eat. You know, my cabinet seemed to stay full of green beans, but green beans was the cheapest thing I could buy out of the canned goods, as well as tomato soup was among some of the cheap stuff. So don't get something you don't eat. If you don't eat peas, I'm not a big sweet pea fanatic, so I don't buy a lot of sweet peas. I like a can of sauerkraut from time to time. I'll get a can of that. I like collard greens and turnip greens from time to time. But don't buy something in cans that you're not going to eat because you think you need to stock up on this. Buy only what you need and keep an eye on the dates. So that's the thing there. Number three is dehydrated powdered milk and eggs. Now, there's benefits in those better than the liquid stuff. I mean, it lasts for a lot longer time if you properly pack them up and seal them up. They'll last for quite a while. When I was a child, you know, before powdered milk became gourmet, Mom would make a gallon of powdered milk and add 1 can of evaporated milk, and that's what we drank. Going to the store and getting fresh milk was a luxury. We didn't get to do that very often until later on. That's what my mom made for me, and that's what we basically had for our cereal and then for our cooking and our everyday eating on that. The dehydrated eggs, you can dehydrate your own eggs. It's a lot of work. I've tried some dehydrated eggs. I wasn't really impressed with them. I would use the dehydrated eggs for cooking for my other foods like breads or whatever. As far as just eating them by themselves, I don't know about that. Number four is, the hard cheeses encased in wax. That's another thing is you would need to, someone buys the wax, that red wax cheese stuff, and they, has it hot and dip it in and seal it. As long as that's sealed in wax, that cheese will last forever. But the minute you open it up and expose it to the air, then you need to consume that. The meat, you need to be consuming it or seal it up where it's going to stay fresh. It will last as long as 25 years as long as it's sealed in that wax casing. Protein bars and protein drinks. I want to tell you something. You are far better off making your own protein bars. That there is a short-term luxury, and I really don't see spending a lot of money on protein bars. Are expensive. They add. I don't want to tell you they're like a glorified candy bar. I worked at a plant, and I know what they've made it, how they done it. Protein bar has benefits in it. Don't get me wrong. They have peanut butter. They have vitamins and stuff added to them. Some of them has jelly here. Some of them has pretzels. Some of them has wafers in them. Some of them's got chocolate in them. Some of them's got others in them. Get your own recipe and make your own protein bars and your own Cliff bars is the route you really need to go on that. The protein grains, I've got a container of it. That there I can understand. I will sometimes, from time to time, get me a glass of milk or a glass of water or add some of it in my coffee or whatever. Even if you just do it in a glass of water and just turn it up, you getting these nutrients in your system. That is something to have on hand. It's something good. Now, number six is canned and dehydrated meat. Then again, you got to watch the dates on them. You have to make sure it's in a rotation. The dehydrated meat, if you're able to dehydrate your own meat and vacuum seal it and put it up, you're further ahead that way. If you're not, then you have to buy it. So that is your protein source for meat. Uh, Number seven is coffee, tea, Ovaltine, and bouillon. If you like coffee, you buy coffee. If you don't like coffee, you don't do coffee. Now I have a variety of teas. I have some instant coffee on hand. I do have some brewed coffee that I can brew up. I do have bouillons I keep on hand. I want to tell you that actually kind of fills you up. You can turn around, eat you some bouillon up, put you a little bit of rice in there or noodles or whatever it is you want to put in there, and make up a real light base soup with that, and that will help fill you up in a situation. Number eight, of course, is oils. You can't go. It says you can't cook much without oils. Buy all small containers and look for the word virgin, which means that they are the first pressed and have the most nutritional value. Now, a lot of people like olive oil. If you can buy one of those oil things where you can grind your own sunflower seeds up, your own pumpkin seeds up, you can make your oil as it goes along the way for it to. Do you have to have oil for everything? No, you can steam cook stuff if you need to. You know, the sellers didn't always have oil. I mean, they used lard and stuff, but they didn't have it. They didn't have it. They made do with what they had in fixing up beans. Beans was one of their main meals. You know, these old pioneers went out. They had a bag of flour, a bag of beans, maybe some salt, maybe some sugar, and some coffee. That's what they had there. They turned around and made their flapjacks or whatever. They harvested whatever they could off the land, and they made do with that. Okay. Uh, Number 9 is whole wheat flour. I want to tell you something. There is so much GMO. The whole wheat flour used to be really good for you, but it's changed over the years. It's not as good for you as it used to be because they have genetically altered it so much to try to produce a so-called better quality. But what they've done is they have taken a lot of the nutrition out of it, and so you know what? Unless you can find a non-GMO, I wouldn't even try it. I just stick with my white bread or whatever. Make your own bread. Shoot, yeah, you can make you some flat bread and everything that you can put up and last for a while. Number 10 is cereal, shredded wheat, corn, or rice. There is benefits on that. If you eat a lot of cereal, that's good. But I want to tell you something. In the process of eating the cereal, a box can get expensive. You need to keep it rotated out. They will go stale after a while. Even sealed up, they will go stale after a while. And it's something you need to think about. And also, you need to think too that you're going to have to put milk in that. So you're going to use your supply powdered milk or whatever to make your cereal with on that. So you need to think on that level also. Number 11 is potato flour. Consider adding potato flour to your prepper pantry. Potato flour is a wonderful gluten-free addition to your prepper pantry. Now, I don't know. They say they use the entire skins and they dehydrate them and stuff. So what you basically talking about is you take it, once you dehydrate the potatoes, you can grind them up and make a flour out of it. But before you dehydrate potatoes, they have a starch in them, just like beets and some of the other stuff. You need to blanch them and make sure they're blanched thoroughly before you slice them up and dehydrate them, or they're going to turn black on you. Now, it says corn as a grain dry. If you dry corn, it it's like a candy. It's real sweet. It's chewy. You have a candy, but also she's talking about popcorn. You can buy large bags of popcorn pretty cheap, the regular ones, and you can grind that up and turn it into a flour as well, and make you some flatbread from that. And it says corn as a vegetable. The corn is also something you can enjoy. But also the thing is we don't digest corn. Have you ever went to the bathroom and you find all this stuff floating around, if you know what I mean? Our body does not digest corn. I love corn. I love the taste of it. But also, it's not good on your teeth after a bit in a situation that can cause problems. And that's something you need to consider right there. It's number 13. Number 14 is oats and oatmeal. Now, I'm a firm believer. Now, I have several packs of the instant oats. I have, sometimes I've got some old-fashioned oats up there too. The instant oats you can use for a number of things. You just use your basic water. You do not have to be adding milk in it unless you want to add milk into it. You can add some dried fruit in there. You can chop up some other things in there and make a meal out of that. And oats will last a whole lot longer than cereal. Number 15 is breadcrumbs and stuffing. 15, breadcrumbs and stuffing. That's fine if you want to do that. But to me, I don't use a lot of breadcrumbs. I don't use a lot of stuffing. What I would do in a situation, I'd rather put my money towards buying my flour or my other ingredients. And since I do nature stuff, I will probably go out and harvest my own stuff and grind my own flour up in that situation if I needed to do that. Now, number 6 is shelf-stable, ready-to-eat meals. That's, again, talking about dehydrated stuff and everything. There's a lot of stuff out there that's microwavable, microwave this, microwave that. There's a lot of them in there now. I like the noodles that's in the packs. They're in that containers that you can seal it. You can sit there and cut the top off, add you some hot water in it, flip it over, seal it up, let it finish cooking itself, and you've got a meal right there in a situation. Now I'm for those. Number 17 is crackers. That's another thing here. I do have crackers. If you see one my video on how to seal crackers up in these jars, and they'll last for years and years and years. The ones I've got sealed up, I've got some cereal one, little for snacks and different types of crackers and chips. Uh, they'll be good for 10 to 25 years, airtight, sealed up, as long as they're sealed. Number 18 is potato flakes and all rotten potatoes. That again falls into uh, getting rather expensive right there. If you do not eat a lot of potatoes, then you have to think. Now I have some instant potatoes put up. I do have them because that is a meal. I can make me some potato soup from that. I could add a few pieces of chicken or whatever, some chopped up onions, some celery or whatever, some pepper, some seasoning, and I can make me some potato soup out of it. So number 19 is a rice. Now you can get all kinds of them. You can get the instant rice. You can get the long cooking rice. Rice will last for years, just as long as you keep it dry and airtight. This here will last you forever. Pasta. Uh, pasta, dry pasta has little to no fat or moisture content, so it resists the spoilage. So, it's like spaghetti and noodles and all that. I have that on hand as well. I have a lot of Roman noodles and things like that. Will I get tired of eating something like that? Sure, but you know what? If I go out and harvest some of my plants and stuff that's growing wild out here, like creeping Charlie stuff, I've got some stuff that's dry that I'm grinding out back now. I'm grinding some peppermint and grinding some creeping Charlie. The fact is, if I take some of my herbs that I have harvested and add it into this, I'm giving myself nutritional value with it. 21, raisins, dry fruit, and fruit strips. Okay, now, that's fine on a short-term basis within a length. You got to watch the expiration date on. They will, after a while, be no good. You need to think about that. And if you're going to dry your fruit and stuff, you need to make sure you seal them airtight to make sure no air gets into them and see how long, because they will, after a while, go bad in a situation. They can last for a number of years, but it also depends on how you put them up. Number 22 is jam and jellies. Now, I got a sweet tooth. Jam and jellies is wonderful. They'll last for a number of years. Back in the day when my grandmother and all them, they would make jelly and then they would put paraffin wax over top of the jelly to keep from any kind of mold or any kind of air getting to it. So it would last a lot longer. If I've seen my grandma just skim the mold off and set it aside and eat the jelly. I mean, this is just how I was raised. If you do decide you want to do some long-term jelly, then you need to do it that way, and you need to get the wax and pour it over top of it, just like you would for your cheese, to seal it up to keep from any air getting in it. Canned fruit is something to think about. Like again, you need to rotate the stalk out. You need to think about that, and don't get your canned fruit. I don't like eating a lot of pears. I'm not a pear eater. I like I like peaches, and I like mixed fruit. When I get a craving for it, I don't eat a lot of the canned strawberries. I've tried them. I didn't like them. If you don't like the fruit, don't get it. Number 24, canned veggies, of course. Again, that's what I was saying is, watch what you get what you eat. If you do not eat sweet peas, if you do not eat lima beans or butter beans or any of those, don't get them. Get only what you eat. And again, rotate out and watch the date. Number 25 is beans and, of course, all kinds of dry beans. It says and canned beans, including refried beans. If you don't eat refried beans, you don't want them. Point is, you can take your canned beans, your pinto beans, you can smash them up and use them and fix them up just like you can refried beans. I have several bags of dry beans. I'm a firm believer in them. It takes a little while to cook them, but I want to tell you what, they're good, they're better, and they're going to last for years and years and years. Now, I was going to back up for a second and tell you about the canned veggies, but I cannot remember what it was I was going to tell you. So, I might remember it later. Number 26 is nuts, seeds, and nut butters. Now, if you are allergic to nuts, or anybody in your family is allergic to nuts, you need to forget about that. The seeds and everything will last for a long, long time as long as they're properly sealed up. Same way with the butter and the nuts, like as long as they're sealed airtight. 27, honey. Honey never goes bad. I've got some jars of honey down in my basement during the winter months. It got real cold. They crystallized. I've left them down there. I got about 4 or 5 of them down there in the basement. They don't care. They're going to sit there. Day come I need them. All I got to do is warm them up and take it out. It's no problem. No big deal. They'll last forever. Number 28 is iodine salt and other salt. Salt is used in a curing process for things. But if you do not live in an area where you have free access to salt, that's something you may want to consider. But also, in the case you see what these salts come in, you need to place these salt in containers that's waterproof or something to last for a very long time. They need to stay dry because they get lumpy and everything, and they will not work as well. So you do need that. And like I say, people do use salt to preserve food with. Uh, Pickling and all that. Number 29 is sugars and molasses. Uh, Granulated sugar, brown sugar, and powdered sugar. Excuse me. Also buying sugar in the raw. Skip the beet and go for the cane. Skip also the sugar that you can buy in boxes and paper bags. Buy your sugar wrapped in plastic. You can put all that stuff in containers and seal it up and air it up. Buying them in the other containers can get more expensive. If you're on a budget like I am, then put them in a container and seal it up airtight so they will not get wet. And the fact is, sugar beets, if you want to raise sugar beets, and that's something you may want to think about, you can turn around and boil them. The sugar from those sugar beets is a natural sweetener. The longer you cook it down, you'll turn it into a molasses-like base, and if you want to cook it a little longer, you'll eventually crystallize it and turn it into sugar. So that's something to think about there, and that will last forever and ever. Number 30 is spices and herbs. Now, of course, it makes foods taste better, but then again, remember I told you about the spices and herbs. A lot of them has health benefits. Cinnamon, a teaspoon a day. A teaspoon a day of cinnamon is good for people who's got diabetes, insulin issues, and other things of that. Same way with the cayenne pepper helps in situations. Read up. Ginger is an antibiotic. It's good there if you like a little spice in it. You add ginger into your teas and some of your other things. There you go. 31 is condiments. It's talking about ketchup, mayonnaise, and all this stuff. You don't have to have all of that stuff. That's fine in a situation, but you also got to realize you need to watch the expiration date on it and how much you eat of this. A bottle of ketchup lasts you forever. How many times have you thrown a jar of mayonnaise away? That's something to think about right there. You need to find the recipe and just make your mayonnaise fresh when you need it. And you can make it up and make it when you want to. I'll have to look it up again because I can't remember the exact recipe for it. But it wasn't very hard to make. And you can make your own mayonnaise and it will save you time if you do it fresh. And you need to consider all those options right there. Number 32 is chocolate. Now, I love chocolate, but I can live without it. Chocolate here, you've got to also think about what you want for chocolate, how much you're going to store on it, and what it is. Like, Nestle's chocolate, as long as it's kept dry, it'll last for a long period. So you got chocolate syrup and all that. But you need to also be conscious of the shelf on it, of life of it, and you also need to think about how long and how much you're willing to put into that and about the rotation on it. It does have many health benefits, like urinary tract infection. It has caffeine in it and all this other stuff. But that's something you need to think on. Number 33, of course, is vitamins. Vitamins is without saying. But if you have a knowledge on living off the land and stuff, you can get many of your nutrition from the lands, like porcelain, like wood sorrel, and many more. Creeping Charlie, dead nestle, and constantly others plants that you will not even think about having. So the vitamins has a limitation on it. while you have the multivitamins, you need to think about that, what you're going to have, how many you're going to have, and keeping it on a rotation basis. And then you're going to need to think about other ways to take care of it. Food bars. Of course, some about protein bars. She's already mentioned that and everything. Granola bars. I'll tell you something other. I had some granola bars upstairs, and I had forgotten all about them. I'm going to tell you, when I opened them up, they disintegrated. That right there goes. You need to make your own granola bars if you like to cook. Making your own granola bars and sealing them up and stuff is far better. Number 35 is vodka. Vodka is used for a tincture. It can be used for cooking. Some people cooks with it. You can barter with it. You can drink it or whatever. The thing is you can turn around and is an anesthetic, of course, for blisters or to ease poison ivy as a skin repellent to soothe flies and mosquitoes. Have sticky feet, wipe your smell feet clean with vodka. Try vodka too for cleaning the lenses of eyeglasses and things like that. So it has multi-use, but you can make your own pooch in that. But if you just want to go and buy all that stuff, more power to you if you want to do that. 36 is dry yeast. Because yeast is good for, it has a shelf life, so you need it, of course, constantly rotate out. So you need to be able to learn how to make your own active yeast from raisins or whatever else, and make it when you need it for the periods of time of cooking. Because making flatbread is fine with me. I don't have to have things raised and all of that. But that there is something you can think about on a situation like that in the short term. 37 is baking soda and baking powder. Of course, when combining baking soda with honey or an acidic ingredient like buttermilk or yogurt, you get a chemical reaction of carbon bubbles. This causes baked goods to rise. Looks for aluminum-free baking soda, a good choice. And then she's naming off things like it. Baking soda you can live without it in a situation. It's fine, but you need to keep it in a dry area and sort it out. So this here is the 37 essential foods that she considers to be what you would need. Now, the thing she didn't have on the list is seeds. In a situation here is seeds. Something to think about is keeping some seeds on hand. If you keep your seeds stored in a cool, dry environment, they'll last as long as 10 years in many cases. So that's something you need to think about. If you're raising your own food and stuff, or even if you're not raising your own food, always have a few pack of seeds on hand at all times. Look around, but make sure it's things you will eat and things that produce. Squash is a good producer, and it depends on the zone you're living in. Same way with okra, same way with tomatoes, peppers, watermelon, cantaloupe, things like that. This is something you need. Corn is okay, but it takes up a lot of space. It drains the nutrients out of the ground. You want to think about a lot of root plants like carrots and radishes and potatoes and things like that in the area. So you want to think about things like that. But I would add seeds onto my food thing, and I would try to make sure you get the non-GMO with it at all possible. If you can harvest your own seeds from your own plants each year, that's something to think about. So this is Live Prepper here. I want you to be safe, be happy. Bless you all.